What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video in our tag mixer package series. I'm noticing that this tutorial series was kind of getting neglected. I kind of moved back over to the YouTube / beginner WordPress building series, and this one's kind of just been getting ignored in the background, man. It got back burnered, right? And so I kind of wanted to give a little more attention to this video series because, man, we left off at such a good spot last time. It was right when we were going to start creating the tag mixer package settings. Now, the thing is I realized, too, that I didn't create a deletion for the existing packages, and I'll have to create that because, obviously, you want to be able to get rid of these. But let's do this section here, which is actually how we add the content to the packages to tell it what to do. All right, so rewind real quick. Real fast. I've been trying to figure out how exactly I wanted to make this plugin work because it has a lot of things that a user could do, and I didn't know if I wanted to make it like a checklist you could check from, or like a drop-down list, or how I wanted to do it. Now, obviously, what's going to happen is it's going to when it outputs in the footer or via shortcode in whatever page the user decides. It's going to use JavaScript to edit elements in the document after it loads. So we're going to probably hook after content so that the page's content has loaded, and then we'll do it there. But I would say maybe before, yeah, it'd be after content. And the thing is that's how it's going to work. It's going to use document elements and get bys and all that stuff to modify. And I think we might end up using the internal WordPress media editor to allow user to select images for image replacements and stuff like that. So essentially, I know there's a lot going on with what I just said, but let me just rewind for a second, even further rewind past the first rewind. Okay, so in order to make it work, what we're going to do is we're going to make a drop-down box that allows users to select some options, like change images to, replace words in page, replace link addresses, replace font size, font color, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to help them essentially write those functions. But then it's going to be a box where they can enter all their own custom functions too. Now, we are going to have to clean the box of anything like PHP related or anything like that, because it's going to be saved in the database. So we want to make sure to clean up the code and make a database saved and safe and all that. Anyway, so let's just jump right into it. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to make our form to replace this dumb form. And as you guys know, we're going to be using Bootstrap. Oh, wow, right? How surprising. It's not like we haven't used that a million times. So we're going to go down to the forms. And once again, guys, the reason I do this is because I know that you can easily follow me if you're just following exactly what I'm doing. If you're ever confused or you try to figure out how to do it on your own, you can go right here. So what we're going to take from here is we're going to take the select, and we're going to take the text area from trusty old form we've used like a gazillion times, and we'll probably use a gazillion times in the future. So we're going to run a copy on this right here, and then we're going to delete all of this and give us some space, man. Not that much space. All right, and there you go. Now you have a Bootstrap form that's ready to roll. And that's pretty good because we need to have this form ready to go. But we are going to do a couple of deletions here. Primarily, we're going to get rid of the, well, we want the text area, and we want the select. We don't want a multi-select. So you got to get rid of the one that's a multi-select. That's this one here. So we want to get rid of these lines. And we want to keep the text box, but we're actually going to move it and do something different with it than what it's doing now. So, a couple things different than previous videos. The action, once again, is going to be nothing. Okay, we want the page to come back, but the method this time is going to be post. Now, what is the difference? I've gone through this a bunch of times, but I'll explain it very, very quickly for anybody that doesn't know. Post sends through the header, get sends through the URL. Well, if we have a bunch of code, JavaScript, that's sitting inside of our form, text area, and it gets submitted by user, and it's via get, guess where all that information is going to go? Yep, it's going to try to send it through the URL, and we do not want that in this case. So instead what we're going to do is be smart and send it via post, and then it'll ride in a post variable through the header information, and it'll be much more clean, and it doesn't really change how we get it and store it in the database. So not a big deal. You guys will see. Pretty simple. Okay, so now we have that taken care of. We'll have to do the hidden field for the, we can steal it from right here from above. Stealing. We need to steal the hidden key as usual, which is the page. So we're going to go ahead and put that inside the top of our form to start. So now it's going to send back properly to this page. All right, so now that we have these two things, here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it a kind of like a three-step thing. It's going to have a drop-down for what the user wants to do. Then it's going to have an ID of an element they want to modify. Then it's going to have the value they want changed. And when we use the media call in later, I'm going to show you some code I found on a third-party site somebody already wrote. There's no reason to write all of it. In fact, it's kind of a complicated feature to write, to be honest with you guys. So I'm going to pull that from somebody else later, and I will give them credit for it, for writing it in the first place, for calling the default media upload editor in and to get the image from it when the user wants to replace. But that's not going to be in this video. Okay, so now that we have that set, we're going to do some very basic modifications. So we're going to call this item to add. This is our select form, or our select, and remember you got to give it in the ID and then in the name. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the ID, but I like to do it to keep it organized. Item to add. Now this is important because we're going to be using JavaScript to detect real time what the user has selected in order to write to our text area box real time. You're going to see this is all going to happen over the next 2 videos or so. Alright, so our options, I'm just going to go ahead and I guess leave those because we're going to have a bunch of options in here. And then also it's missing a label for this first one. I noticed that. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, no, it does have a label. No, it does have a label. Let's just say, like, if the user says, I want to, and give it 3 dots, right? Let's take a look. I just want to see actually what it's doing at that point, what the form's doing. Okay, so we're getting a little closer already to kind of what I anticipated I wanted. So it's going to say, I want to, and it's going to have all the options right here, okay? And I'm going to add some text above here, probably an H1 to kind of give the user an idea. And I'm probably going to fast forward this part so you guys don't have to see me writing out a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I went ahead and just wrote this out real quick, kind of like a quick explainer of what's happening here. So it says use the form below, you can read it. It's basically saying here's how it works. Everything's outputted as JavaScript and will work as such. Any other code will be ignored. So in our I want to list, we're going to start adding some items. And particularly, we're going to be adding just a few basic kind of boilerplate ones so that the user can kind of know what's happening, and then they'll be able to write anything manually that they want to add that is not included. I think this is the best way to leave it wide open so it has more versatility. Okay guys, so ahead of time I decided, just actually right ahead, I just went ahead and paused and then went ahead and decided, okay, these are the options I'm going to want. So let's just go ahead and paste them in and then I'll explain to you exactly what each one is and why it matters. Okay, so in the items to add, we're going to allow the user to change an image, change the font size, change the font color, change the background color, change opacity, replace words with another word, and change link locations. This is a lot of information for a marketing page. This does really a lot of stuff. It allows you to change a ton of stuff. So we're going to start with this, and then we can add features later. We could have the program API call to maybe like a database we create somewhere else and update its core to know how to do more things. There's a lot of stuff we can do with this. But for now, we're just going to leave it like that because that makes most sense. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head back over to trusty old Bootstrap, and we're going to take this input form that is the email address, but we're obviously not going to make an email address. We're going to change it into something we want, which is a text field, but we can easily grab it from there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to call this maybe like, let's just say element ID to change. This is the element ID to change. This is exactly what we're going to make it look for. Let's see, we want this to be typed text. And we're going to say ID of element to modify. Okay, and the placeholder is going to be nothing in this case because it doesn't need a placeholder. But this is going to be the box where the user puts in the ID of the element. So like if we had a div and that div, or not a div, if we had an image and the image's HTML ID was like top banner, that would be the ID of the element to modify. They could put in top banner and then tell it what image they want to change it to. So if the keywords and all that match, remember that's all set up beforehand. If the keyword equals Lowe's and it has the right source key, or if it's all source keys, it will change the banner to whatever we told it to. You see? I hope this is coming together for you guys. And sorry if this video is a little longer than 10 minutes. I'm trying to hurry through this. Okay, so that's what's going to do there. Now, next thing we need to do is all we have to do is grab this right here and then just make another one. All right, and so in this one, this is what we want to change it to. New value to change to. Now in the future, this is also going to have a box where it will detect if the user's trying to change an image. It will obviously be different because we want to give them the ability to browse for an image. But for the moment, we're just going to say new ID value, and then we're going to make sure that it has that ID. And above, I didn't give it the name. I have to go back and do that. So give it the name, make sure the name is the same. This way we can read it on a page refresh. And then this one we need to give it the name too. Okay, so our form's starting to look somewhat respectable. At least more respectable than having what it had in there before, a bunch of boilerplate crap. Okay, so you see now we're starting to get somewhere. Aha. Actually, I want that box bigger too, this text area. I want it to say like package settings or something, like the package settings. So now we know that this is like what the package settings contain, and then I want that to be the name of it as well. This information or knowledge can cross-port to a lot of different stuff. So let's just make this, let's make it like 10 rows. That way we can get a little bit serious on it. Let's see what we get. And okay, so now we have a text area. We have, look at all this. So I want to change, say, like font size. And the idea I want to modify is, you could even put body in here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do to like edit everything on the page, all kinds of stuff, right? And we probably should have class too. But in this case, I'm just going to run IDs. And then the new value to change to, and then it's going to show us down here in this example text area of the current package settings that are being saved to the database, and the package that's going to be output settings and rules. All right, so I think, let's take a look one more time. Okay, so I think we're going to, well, we need a button, don't we? I was just going to say, I think I'm going to call the video here because I just wanted to show you the overall design and what I came up with and how I think it makes sense for what we're doing. And then the next video, we're going to do a little bit of JavaScript to really bring this thing to life. And we'll do a lot after that point. So let's just make this a button primary, and let's just say save package settings. All right, and I don't know if I need to give it a break. I want to give it a couple, just to make sure it's visible. Let's see what we got. Perfect. Okay, so at this point, we now have 3 boxes. We have the ability to add a mixer package with a name, a key, a unique key, and a predefined traffic source. We have the ability to edit a package and give it a different traffic source. And now we have the ability to edit. Now the thing is, when you hit edit an existing source and then you select one, I'm going to make a button right here that says edit this package's rules, and then it's going to reopen the page with this one already pre-opened, expanded, and it's going to know. It's going to say the one that's currently being edited right here. It's going to say the package you're currently modifying, so that the person knows what they're modifying. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. And the reason why is because now we have our basic form set up, a very basic form to do what we want to do. We now can do these things by default. It built into the software. We're going to be able to add PHP to handle all this. And then, and actually, I hate to even say this, I want one more button. Yeah, I think I want one more button. Sorry about this. I want it right here. And I just went ahead and grabbed this button. And there's something important to know about this button. I just wrote this. One thing important to know about this button is you see it has an on-click event called add the item. Okay, this is important to us because this is going to be calling a JavaScript function in our next video that adds the item, adds what the user changed into this package settings and rules field. So let's go ahead and go back one more time, because I want to make sure that we get this right. I am gonna be submitting this after all once it's complete to actually be a plugin people can download by default. So let's check it out. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is what's going to happen now. Is the user's going to be able to say, I want to change my font size, the element I want to modify, this is the new value I want to change to, add the rule to the mixer package, and it's going to add here into this box. Then when the user has all the rules they want, they'll be able to save the package settings. I hope this makes sense. And then when the package settings that are going to be output are going to be the ones that are in this box. Make sense? I hope so. Look, if you ain't subscribed, I just don't understand. Just subscribe, will you? And if you are subscribed, I really appreciate you. And I hope this video was informative about kind of where this plugin is headed, because at the next video, we're going to be doing a little bit of tricky JavaScript that's going to allow us to kind of put this together. Don't worry, it's going to be really easy JavaScript. And so that's what's going to come up next. And I look forward to seeing you guys in that part soon.